A friend, a beacon in the storm, a confidant in the chaos of life. They are the steady hand that guides us through our darkest moments, the laughter that echoes through the corridors of our memories. But what happens when that very friend becomes the architect of our tragedy? When their actions, perhaps unintended, lead us down a path of despair and heartache? How do we reconcile the betrayal of the one we trusted most? This is the terrible story of Keeley Bunker. Come and join us as we unravel this horrific crime. Born on September 7, 1999, Keeley Bunker, also known as Keeley, was an inheritance to her parents and an inspiration to her siblings. Her sister called her one of the most lively, kind, and beautiful beings this earth has ever seen, and her mother described her as a wonderful and beautiful daughter. She was a driven individual who overcame obstacles in her life to obtain a degree and pursue a career as a teacher. She had an interview to become an assistant teacher the day before she tragically died, but her bright future was dashed by her childhood buddy named Wesley Street. Wesley Street. Who was he? And why was this horrifying case being pursued? Keeley invited Wesley to her 20th birthday celebration on September 18, 2019, following the musician concert at the 02, because the two had known each other since they were in the same infant school. Although they were not the closest of friends, they remained in contact over the years. 2 days before, Keeley had even tweeted, "The only thing keeping me going is seeing H on Wednesday. Hopefully he'll notice me and we'll get married." This made her very excited for that day. Keeley met Wesley at Birmingham's new street station with her best friend Monique Regan the day of the event. The three went to a bar after the event and partied until 2:40 a.m. They stayed in Tamworth after that and returned there in a taxi. The last time Monique saw Keeley, she was a short walk from their alighting point. Monique had asked her to stay the night because of safety concerns, but Keeley didn't want to miss her job interview the following day, so she said, "I've got Wes. He'll walk me back. It will be okay." When Keeley failed to show up for the interview the following day, friends and relatives raised suspicion as to her whereabouts and attempted to get in touch with her, but to no avail. Around 5:30 p.m., Wesley was the last person the police saw of her, and he was taken in right away for interrogation after Keeley's father filed a missing persons report.
It's not, obviously it's not.
No, no.
It's not what you want, is to be back in the police car.
I just feel like I'm getting the blame.
No one's blaming you. Me and my...
You said when I was at the house that all I needed to do was speak to the officer.
There's a lot of people involved in what's happening, of which we're PCs, and there are people a lot higher up than us who are making decisions.
Yeah. I don't. Well, now, when you say you're going to take my phone, now I feel like you're blaming me.
No, we haven't.
When they came to a phone box close to his residence, the 20-year-old male claimed to have parted ways with her and left her to continue walking the rest of the path by herself. He pointed out the precise spot that the police had instructed him to take them to as part of the inquiry. He also showed the authorities the exact path they had taken to get there. The officers were extremely appreciative of his assistance and allowed him to leave. However, at approximately 9 o'clock at night, Keeley's body was found submerged in a pond at Wigington Park in Tamworth by her uncle Jason Brown, who was a member of the search party. She had been stripped of her garments, and her neck showed signs from being strangled to death. It was a terrifying scene, and Wesley was the first person the police arrested and began questioning.
Have you had any alcohol or drugs in the last 24 hours?
Yes, I've had alcohol.
What did you have and when did you have that?
Probably got to from around about.
Yeah, that's the time we arrived here. Alright. We have to take a note of it.
Yeah. Alright. It's scary, but not scary in a way.
The sergeant, when you get there, the sergeant will explain everything.
Yeah.
So you got any questions, you'll answer. Because basically there's a custody sergeant here that looks after.
His focus remained on the fact that he had left Keeley alive at the phone box. However, upon searching his phone, his GPS revealed that he had visited the murder scene 7 times that day. Despite his attempts to maintain his innocence, the CCTV footage showed him and Keeley at Tamworth Rugby Club later than he had claimed to have left her. His jacket and bank card were discovered in the park, and Keeley's post-mortem examination yielded Street's DNA. With this evidence, he was charged with Keeley's sexual assault and murder. Wesley initially maintained his innocence throughout the trial by saying that he was so drunk that he misreported the events of the evening. He claimed that he had left her happy and that she looked to be in complete happiness, but he later claimed in court that he had accidentally killed her while having consensual sex in the park. It was evident that he kept modifying his claims to fit the facts that were put out. Prior to making that confession, he had claimed that Keeley and him were childhood friends who had never considered romance. He also claimed that Keeley had taunted and flirted with him as they walked home, leading them to end up in the park. Wesley continued by describing how his GPS location indicated that he had visited the murder scene multiple times that day. He claimed that after killing her by mistake in a fit of lust, he returned to the scene to cover Keeley with leaves after disposing of the body in the pond. He claimed that he didn't know how to act or explain Keeley's death to others because he felt ashamed of himself and was scared to tell the police and everyone else why he didn't disclose the truth before Keeley's body was found. But according to the prosecution's evidence, Wesley convinced Keeley to go to the rugby club next to the park while they were out for a smoke. When they got there, he forced himself on her and choked her while she struggled to get free. Furthermore, the jury suggested it was impossible for him to kill her while they were doing intimate love, as it would have taken more than a few seconds for her to pass away. He carried her to the pond, covered her with branches, and left for home when she passed away. Though more horrifying proof of Wesley's terrible character came to light prior to the sentencing date, the evidence that was presented to the members of the jury was sufficient to find him guilty. Because of the seriousness of the case, media sources posted information about the trial quickly, which inadvertently caused women who had previously been Wesley's victims to respond. Wesley represented himself in court as a young man who had made innocent mistakes. His father also stated that he was autistic and required help to comprehend the trial. However, 3 women who had been his sexual assault victims came forward to destroy the last of the scented candles. He had sexually abused 3 girls, a 16-year-old in 2015, a 15-year-old in 2017, and a 20-year-old just months before Keeley passed away. These 3 were the only victims who had the guts to come forward, despite the fact that investigations suggest there may have been more. One of them testified in court that she had battled the disgusting thoughts that nearly overtook her, and said she didn't think she would ever be able to move past it. After hearing Keeley's case, she couldn't hold back any longer and reported it to the authorities. She stated that looking back, I realized that it was clearly not okay if anything made you feel physically ill to your stomach. I was hesitant to tell anyone, though. The third survivor talked about how she went to his residence and felt guilty over the incident. She also claimed, I didn't have the guts to tell anyone until I learned the tragic news about Keeley. It was at that point that I felt the full force of what had happened to me. But by that time, I had already dealt with my grief in what I believe was a negative manner. Lead prosecutor Hannah Sway characterized Wesley's offense as a pattern of crime. Rather than an isolated incident, it was a prolonged pattern of behavior. She said that Wesley was a man who pursued his goals regardless of the repercussions, and that his innocent look and amiable manner made his victims less fearful of him. His victims were reportedly friends or acquaintances. It's simple to create a stereotypical picture of a criminal, but we frequently fail to see this intelligent young man as well as his many well-known and well-liked acquaintances. The lead detective on the case, Detective Inspector Shirley Hannon, also called him a crafty and manipulative person. Keeley clearly trusted him to walk her home that evening. He set himself up so that he could pray over her before killing and taking advantage of her. After that, he proceeded to revolve the investigation around himself, lying to the police, her family, and her friends to assure them that she was okay, and altering his stories when new information became available. Wesley received a 30-year jail term without the possibility of release. The judge explained during the sentencing how Wesley had taken Keeley's lovely life and used it to fulfill his own ambitions. She had lost the chance to help young children achieve their life goal, and her family had lost their cherished daughter, sister, and other family members. Additionally, Keeley's family members said they would never recover enough to forgive Wesley. According to Debbie, Keeley's mother, justice will never be served by the verdict of this trial. We are unable to extend forgiveness to Keeley since she was a young woman just beginning out in life, and the kindest, most kind, innocent person you could ever meet. Keeley Bunker's untimely death serves as a sobering reminder that we might never fully know someone, their intentions, morals, and what lie beneath their charming faces.
Hey, Thanks for sticking with us today. Check out this other thrilling videos for you to watch, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe and like button, and let us know down below your thoughts on today's case. Until then, take care.